for another stream. Wasn't gonna come on tonight, but I thought, you know what? Let's talk about Tottenham, man. I think it's safe to say Postecoglou is under massive pressure. You know, another loss. I believe that is what 16 losses now. Tottenham this season in the league, and it's all on the Europa League. You know, as I said earlier today, if he doesn't win this Europa League, I don't see him lasting the season. I don't see it at all. You know, and can I blame Tottenham for not keeping Postecoglou? Losing 16 games in the season. I don't know really. I can't. Big up Barbara for coming on. Yeah, big up for coming on. Big up Will as well. Guys, did you guys watch the Chelsea Tottenham game? I think Pochettino, man. I'm not Pochettino, sorry. I think Postecoglou. I think he's I think he's gonna be sacked regardless. You know. I think Europa League. I don't see them winning Europa League. You know, I don't think they've got enough to win Europa League. And again, they're playing Eintracht Frankfurt, who are going to be a tough game home and away. And I think if they get past Eintracht Frankfurt, then they've got every right to think that they can go all the way. But for me, I just don't see it, man. And in terms of their performances, Tottenham's performances, I think Vicario made a good save from Sancho. Sancho obviously good touch. And to be fair, I thought it was a good save. I think Sancho had to hit it quite early because the defender was coming across. But Vicario made a key save, to be honest. And I think he can be happy with his game. But ultimately, they lost 1-0. So yeah, I think their defense. Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence is arguably one of their best defenders. He can play across the back four. He's very, very composed on the ball. I think defensively, you don't really see many players get past him. I think in terms of his quality on the ball, he's got a lot of quality. Big up Rats and Gamer. Big up E as well. Just talking about the Chelsea and Tottenham game. I think in terms of bro, I'm back, man. I thought, you know what? Let's just get through this. Let's just talk about this this Tottenham game, Tottenham Chelsea game, because I think Postecoglou, man. I think he's in trouble, man. He's in trouble. That game, to be fair, and again, it's an advertisement for Premiership football, and if I'm honest with you, it's a poor showing, man, from both teams. I think the quality was lacking, I think in terms of the excitement, I think it was pretty exciting because it was 1-0 for a long while. But yeah, the quality of the game, man, is just it just ain't there, man. It's a hard watching these teams play, if I'm honest. Big up Andrew Pandya. Yeah, guys, I will get on to your questions, to your comments. Just bear me 1 minute. But guys, if you do like the stream, as I said, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe to my channel at Gab Goes In. So just going through the Tottenham's performances, and we'll go through the Chelsea ones after. As I said, I think Jed Spence there is arguably one of their best defenders. And I thought he had another comfortable game, even though he was on the losing side. Van der Ven, come off towards the end, obviously to rest him. I think he come off because they don't want to risk him, getting another injury. And again, they've got the Europa League coming up next week. But I think, Van der Ven had a solid game. Obviously his pace is he's got frightening pace, man, to be honest, and he showed that throughout the game. I think there was one instance where him and Nicholas Jackson went shoulder to shoulder, and obviously Van der Ven done well to match him for the pace, and then just gave him a little barge as well and won the ball. His partner, Christian Romero, for me, Christian Romero, I think at times Romero's a bit of a liability. I do think Christian Romero has got qualities to his game in terms of his defending, but I think ultimately he's a bit of a liability, and you can't really hang your hat on him too tough, I would say. But again, I thought the whole defense for Tottenham, I thought they were all okay. If I'm honest, Destiny Adoji as well. Sometimes he goes to sleep a bit, but I think because of his pace and strength, he that gets him out. That gets him out of a lot of situations, And I think very, very similar to Carl Walker. These guys have lapses in concentration, but I think because of their pace and strength, it kind of enables them, to be a bit lazy, I would say. But I thought he was all right. Let's go through some of the chats. So, Relaxing Gamer says Buffon goat. Yeah, yeah. Gianluigi Buffon, man, what a goalkeeper he was. Yeah, man, he was ridiculous. Let's go through. So, Andrew Pandia says Ronaldo in Chelsea soon. Yeah, someone else told me that. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I don't think Ronaldo will suit Chelsea, if I'm honest. And yeah, obviously I heard that talk, but obviously Ronaldo's gonna want a lot of money to come and play for Chelsea. So I don't really see that happening. And again, obviously we'll get onto it in a bit. Nicholas Jackson as well. I know obviously they got AFCON as well. So is that wait? No, AFCON that would be for next season, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course. But yeah, I don't see Ronaldo coming. I heard is he coming to play for Chelsea for the FIFA Club World Championships. To be honest with you, I don't really see it, but we'll have to wait and see. Um, just reading some through these chats. Yeah, so just going back onto the Tottenham team, midfield, Bentancur. I think Bentancur was decent today. I think the problem with Tottenham's midfield, you don't really see too many goals coming from there. Whether it's Basuma, Bentancur, Papa Sarr, even though he had a good strike today, which got disallowed. I think Lucas Bergval as well. I think that central midfield that they've got there, there's not really too much goals there, and a lot of their goals are being relied upon from Dominic Solanke or out wide through Son Kulusevski, who's a massive miss again, who didn't play. He's arguably one of their best players, Kulusevski. And again, I'd say he's arguably he arguably is their best player. And again, he's come back from injury. But yeah, no, I think midfield, as I say, Bentancur, Bergval, Bergval, a lot of energy. I think his end product is lacking. But again, he's still young, and he's gonna have good games, he's gonna have bad games. But I think the substitution of him was probably right. He was a bit hit and miss in this game. On the flanks, Wilson Odebear. I think Odebear was in and out of the game. Obviously he's got decent pace, decent ability as well. But I think up against Cucurella, I think Cucurella was just too experienced, and what I mean, Cucurella just he marshaled him well, really. Didn't really give him any space to really do anything. Defended him well. So and then Son on the other side. I think Son really, he needs to do more. I think the worst thing they've done with Son is give him the captaincy. I think Son would have been better if he didn't have the pressure of being the captain. And but I think the fact that he's got the armband, he needs to lead by example. And you can just tell that Son is not naturally a captain. I can't imagine Son shouting at any players if anything isn't going right. I think he might set an example for his performances, but again, his performances haven't even been that good. So, I think the likely captain for them is someone like Christian Romero. But the problem is Christian Romero is a very obviously has been injury prone as well. But again, Romero's a bit of a hothead, So, but I don't think Son's a captain. He needs to be doing a lot more. And then we move on to obviously Madison. Obviously as we know, Madison's got very good quality. Just like a few of the others was in and out of the game. And yeah, I think he's got some nice touches. I do think Madison's a very good player. But again, this team's low on confidence. And as I said before, the game that matters is the Europa League. Because as I said, if they don't win that Europa League, Postecoglou, I think, gets sacked in the summer. So yeah, it's going to be on them to win that. And then Solanke, I think Solanke was amongst the players, all the players on the pitch that had the fewest touches from what I see earlier. But again, they weren't really getting him into the game. And then when he was in the game, it was a bit hit and miss in terms of him linking the play, keeping the ball. Didn't really have any chances really. It was a bit of a struggle game for him. But again, as I said, the quality of the game was poor anyway. It wasn't a game, that you'd be telling anyone about. And I think Tottenham played their part. They didn't do enough to win that game for me. Their subs, Papa Sarr come on. Obviously, I think Papa Sarr added a bit of energy to their midfield. Obviously, the goal that he scored was, I actually think it was poor goalkeeping from Robert Sanchez. But nonetheless, it was a foul on Moises Caicedo. But I think he was more potent, more threatening in that midfield than what Bergval and what Bentaker were, to be honest with you. Big up Ujwal Kandakuri. Yeah, big up, bro, for coming on. So, yeah, let's go through some of the chat. So, Gamer says, do you think Arsenal got a chance against Real Madrid as they're missing Gabriel also? For me, I don't. They wasn't beating Real Madrid for me anyway. But I think the loss of Gabriel, I think is going to be key because the reason I say that is if you had Gabriel and you had and you had Saliba together, I think with Mbappe, I think they could have dominated Mbappe because you would have had Saliba who could have competed with Mbappe's pace. And then you would have had Gabriel who can rough up Mbappe in terms of being physical up against him. I think the option they've got now is either they're going to play Jakub Kivior if they want to go for a light replacement, left-footed centre-back, or they can play Ben White there, or they can play Timber there, So they've got other options, but I think Gabriel was probably the one defender that they didn't want missing. I think out of Gabriel and Saliba, they probably would have preferred Saliba missing more than Gabriel. Because as I said, Gabriel is the one that's gonna get physical. If you look at Rudiger on the other side, you got Rudiger and Gabriel who are going to offer the physicality for both defenses. And I think up against Mbappe, Gabriel could have really roughed him up, and then you got Saliba's pace. But I think if it's Kivi or Ben White, I think they're gonna be found wanting, if I'm honest. So as I said, I don't think they had a chance against Real Madrid anyway. But for me, the fact that Gabriel's missing, it's going to be a tough ask for them, But yeah, we'll have to wait. But it's a game I'm looking forward to, to be honest. So Gamer says, would you take Son for United? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I would have taken Son probably 3-4 years ago, but definitely not now. I think Son's on his way out, man. He's if I'm Son, I'll leave Tottenham and probably go back to Germany or something, because I think no one in the Premiership is going to take Son. I mean, if he's on a free transfer, there might be a couple of clubs that might be interested. But for me, he's not what United need. And again, United play this formation at the moment with the two number 10s. Son's not a number 10. He's more of a wide forward. So unless a different manager comes in and wants to go back to playing with the wide forwards, Son's not gonna be suitable for this formation, even if he isn't a free transfer. So Ujwal Kandakuri says, choose one, Beckham or Ronaldinho. That's easy, Kandakuri. David Beckham, one of the Man United greats. especially in his era, man, was very underrated. But yeah, you can't go against Ronaldinho, man. Ronaldinho for me is one of my goats. You know what I mean? He's one of the best players I've ever seen play. You know, what a player he was. And again, the nearest player to Ronaldinho was Neymar. And you're not getting these kind of players in the game no more. Unfortunately, football's very systematic now. And if you're a mercurial talent like that, you know this era of football is gonna try and drown you with that. So it's frustration. It's frustrating, but it's the era we're in, unfortunately, at the moment. But yeah, big up yourself, Ujwa Kandakuri. Bro, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel as well. So yeah, just getting on to the Chelsea performances. Again, Robert Sanchez, made a very good save from Son when Brennan Johnson played the ball across and then Sanchez got across to save. I think what was concerning was Papa Sarr's shot though, because Papa Sarr didn't really hit it too well, but the way Sanchez just got his wrist to it, and be fair, it was a poor save and it went in. I mean, he got saved by obviously by the foul, because had that have gone in and Chelsea end up drawing the game, I think he would have come in for some serious criticism, and rightfully so, man, because that save was poor. Going on to their defense, I thought Cucurella was very good today. And again, Cucurella is someone for me that is very much underrated. I think if you look at the left backs in the league, people probably wouldn't say he's the best left back, but he's definitely up there, because I think attacking and defending, he's solid across the board for me with his attacking and defending. And again, the way that he handled Odobert and even Brennan Johnson when he came on, he's showing why he should be regarded as the best left back in the league, because this season, I don't think there's been a better left back than him. So another solid game for Marc Cucurella. Malo Gusto on the other side. I think Gusto has got a lot of potential, but for me, Gusto is very much yeah, guys, don't worry, man. I'll get into your questions after. Gusto, for me, I think he has lapses of concentration. There's times where he'll do a good thing and he'll just give away a silly ball. And but I thought he was solid enough throughout. He didn't have much to do against Son. I don't think Son was really in the game. But I thought that, yeah, when he went to left wing, I don't know. I don't really know what that was all about. I think that was more to just kind of watch the runs from Jed Spence, who was over there, and Brennan Johnson, who come on, and obviously Porro come on towards the end as well. But I think he was okay, but I don't think he was amazing, But moving on to defence, Trevor Chalobah and Colwell. I thought, to be fair, they didn't really have much to do. As I said, Dominic Solanke wasn't really in the game, and Solanke, I think, had the fewest touches of any outfield player on the pitch. So, yeah, I think if that's happening, I mean, your defence really, it's either one or two things. They've done a great job, or they didn't really have much to do, and I think they didn't really have much to do. So, yeah, but I think both of them were both comfortable, and there's no issue there. Going into midfield, Moises Caicedo, I think Chelsea have probably the best central midfielder in the league. I watched the whole game, and Moises Caicedo is so good. And the thing with Moises Caicedo is that every asset that you need as a central midfielder, he has. And the thing that I like about Caicedo is that I didn't realize Caicedo was that good in terms of the passing and being on the ball. Because to me at Brighton, he seemed more of a ball winner, high energy. But to be fair, as a central midfielder, especially in this modern era, he has absolutely everything. He's strong, he's got pace, he's got a good pass on him, he's competitive, he's composed on the ball, and what a signing he's been for Chelsea. And bearing in mind, when he first come to Chelsea, people weren't too sure. But I think it's safe to say now he's the best midfielder in the league, easily. He's got everything. And he put in a man of the match performance. I don't think he done anything wrong. Even when Tottenham scored, he got fouled, which was a clear foul on him by Papa Sarr. But yeah, man, he was very good today, very very good. And alongside him, obviously the guy that got the winner in Enzo Fernandez. I think Enzo Fernandez, to be fair, he has been criticised quite a bit, but I think you're starting to see the quality that he has, and I think when you're playing him next to Caicedo, because Caicedo's got the legs, I think you get a better Enzo. I think if they could play a three in there of Romeo Lavia, if he stays fit, Caicedo and Enzo as a three, I think that three there, I think that will take some stopping because I look at a three of um, Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, and Joel Linton. I think I think as a three, that's a three that can compete with that. But obviously, you got Cole Palmer in the 10, so you got to find a place for Cole Palmer. But I thought Enzo was good today, and obviously he got the winner. A good header, so he can be happy with his game. Just gonna go through some of the questions. So Ujwal Kandakuri says, "Bro, do you think Di Maria is underrated?" Yeah, criminally underrated. I think Di Maria gets a lot of he gets a lot of criticism for which I think's unjust, if I'm honest, because I know obviously his time at United didn't work out, and there was obviously there's other things that went on as to why he couldn't settle. But in terms of his quality, his quality is just obvious, and I think if he was coming through in this era, again, he's someone that we'll be looking at as one of the best players in the world easily. But then again, he's not a stat merchant, and for me, it'd be interesting to see how fans will take to him. But for me, he is underrated. You know what I mean? He is, and this is a guy again that's played for the likes of Real Madrid, Man United, PSG. You know what I mean? You don't play for them teams, if you haven't got ability. And yeah, he's a very good player. But I think what's he now, Di Maria? He must be what 33, 34 now. I think. Obviously back at Benfica, where he started his career more or less. But yeah, no, he's underrated. So Gamer says Crouch or Defoe. For me, Defoe, man. Defoe was unlucky in his career because if Defoe went to one of the big guns in the Premier League, he would have scored a hatful of goals, man. He would have because he was a natural finisher, and the chances he would have been created for him, you would have seen that. So Ujwal says, here it comes, United Ronaldo or Madrid Ronaldo. Do you know what? That's a good question, Ujwal, because the Ronaldo that I preferred was United Ronaldo because that was a Ronaldo that was more of a creator, more of a dribbler, and he was more exciting on the eye to watch. The Madrid Ronaldo, he just became obsessed with goals because his whole thing was about staying relevant with Messi. That's what it was, because when Ronaldo went to Real Madrid, obviously the whole battle between Barca and Madrid, and again, this is when Barca and Madrid were at their best, when they were competing with one another for the league title, for Copa del Rey, for Champions League. So this is when Madrid were at their best, and obviously Barca as well. But let's be honest with you, Ronaldo Madrid was just hell bent on scoring goals, and he had to score a lot of goals, as I said, to stay relevant with Messi. You know what I mean? So I preferred United Ronaldo by far, more of an entertainer, but Madrid Ronaldo was more goal hungry and more driven. You know what I mean? That's what I would say. In terms of numbers, yeah. Big up Fayez Mirza. Yeah, big up. My favourite team is Man United. Reluctant Gamer says Sturridge or Welbeck. You know what? Danny Welbeck, again, is another player that's very underrated, very, very underrated. But for me, Daniel Sturridge, if he wasn't for the injuries, he would have been generational for me. He definitely would have been one of England's best ever players because he had so much ability. The problem is that he just suffered a lot of injuries, which wrecked his career because obviously this is a guy that started off at Man City, and then obviously went to Chelsea, and then found himself at Liverpool. So he's played for three of the biggest teams in the league, and you don't do that if you haven't got some sort of ability. So as good as much as I rate Welbeck, because I do think Welbeck was a good player. Daniel Sturridge for me was should have been one of England's best ever players. He was that talented, And if anyone's watched Daniel Sturridge, you would have known that. But yeah, the two Dannies, to be fair, both of them underrated for me, in my opinion. So yeah, just going back to what I was saying. So yeah, Enzo and what's his name, and Moises Caicedo. Yeah, both of them two good performances today. Um, on the right, Neto very much predictable for me. You know what Neto's gonna do. He's gonna try and cut back and then whip a ball in. The Neto that I preferred Neto at Wolves, and again, it could be a case where big fish in a small pond. I think at Chelsea, he's just another player, and he's not someone that's really, really going to shine. I do think he's a good player, Neto, but for me, he should be doing a lot more. I believe anyway. But I thought he was decent. I thought he was decent. Gamer man, you're coming up with some sick questions, man. I'll get back to that in a minute, bro. 1 second. I'm just gonna just go on to Sancho. Jadon Sancho on the left. Do you know what? I watched that whole game, and I'm not going to have anyone tell me Jadon Sancho isn't a good player. I think Jadon Sancho, in terms of his technical ability and his IQ, he's one of the most intelligent players in the game. It's definitely in this league. And I think what I like about Sancho is that he's someone that will get criticized because he's playing an era right now where every pundit, more or less, a lot of these fans expect him when he picks up the ball to just be driving at his man all the time, and that isn't his game. He needs players to link with. You can see the way he links with Cole Palmer. Consistently, both of them players are on the same wavelength. But obviously, the shot that he had where Vicario saved it, that was a good strike, and that was getting in, and Vicario made a good save. But in terms of his decision making, his ability on the ball, I mean, these things shouldn't go amiss because he is top quality, Sancho. And you know what? I'm hoping Chelsea don't sign him and he goes back to United. That's what I'm hoping. But if Chelsea got any brains, they'll sign him because he's a top player, man. And he will get better once he just gets more confidence, and he's got a settled team. Because the way he links up with Cole Palmer, and the intelligence that he has, there ain't too many players with that kind of IQ and that technical ability, and I thought he had a good game. But again, he's always a scapegoat to be coming off. And this is what I don't like about Maresca, because you can tell Maresca just likes legs. And to have Neto and Madueke as two wide players at the same time, I think's mad, But I thought Sancho was good. Cole Palmer, I mean, Cole Palmer's quality is just obvious. He's as a footballer, he's just a top footballer, man. And obviously his assist as well for Enzo's goal. He does things with ease, Cole Palmer, and yeah, he's a top player, man. Obviously, when he came off, you can see that he was pissed off, but yeah, man, he's just a class player, man, and he's definitely one of Chelsea's best players, man. He just oozes quality, you know what I mean? And Nicholas Jackson, I mean, you know what, yeah? In an era now with strikers that, let's be honest, they're few and far between. I think Nicholas Jackson, again, is someone that's criminally underrated because he is someone that as an all-round footballer, he's got a lot more qualities than he doesn't, The guy can hold the ball, you know. The way he links the play, he's got strength, he's got pace, and he's a good option, a good foil for Chelsea as well for their midfielders. Obviously, his finishing does need to be improved, and he'll know that. But in terms of what he offers as a player, it'd be very hard to find someone of his skill set because he does a lot of things good, Nicholas Jackson, and I think with more maturity, he will his game will improve for sure. So yeah, big up WWE thing, big up, bro. So yeah, guys, can go on to your questions. So Gamer's coming in with some sick questions. So he's gone Etu or David Villa. Now this is tough, and I'll tell you why it's tough because David Villa was one of my favorite players. Um, those of you that didn't watch David Villa's career, um, David Villa was unbelievable, and again, he's someone that's won um, everything, especially with Spain. You know, European Championships, World Cups. David Villa was started off at Zaragoza, and then from Zaragoza to Valencia, and then Valencia to Barcelona. Now the thing with David Villa at Valencia, when it was him and David Silva in the same team, he was devastating. You know, devastating. I mean, he wasn't the most physically of imposing players, but his technical ability, his finishing, and his pace was an absolute problem. And when Barcelona signed him under Pep, again, the way Pep played David Villa, played him from the left because Messi was playing as the false nine, and then you had Pedro on the right. But that combination of those three worked very well. But yeah, David Villa for me was a top player, one of my favorite players. And again, Samuel Eto'o. For me, I think Samuel Eto'o is underrated in terms of his goal scoring record, what he's won. You know, his impact on teams. He was a top player, man. Top player. If I have to pick one, just because of the way they played, I preferred David Villa. But Samuel Eto'o was a nightmare, man. He had everything as well. He had pace, strength. He was a clinical finisher. You know, big game player as well. But yeah, if I had to pick one, I'm picking David Villa, man, because David Villa is one of my favorites to watch. And again, they don't make players like this no more. Big up Fires Mirza. So Fires says Drogba or Van Basten. That's a mad one. That's a mad one. Obviously, Van Basten wasn't really in my time, you know, so I can't really comment too much on Van Basten. Obviously, we've seen the goals from Van Basten, you know, some of the finishing. Drogba was an absolute nightmare though in the Premier League. You know, he literally gave defenders nightmare because he could physically battle you. You know, he had a bit of pace. He was technical as well. You know, he was good in the air. He can link the play. He was a target man. He was an absolute nightmare for defenders. So yeah, the thing is, it's kind of hard to compare them, as I said, because Van Basten wasn't really in my time. But what I would say is that two great strikers, and yeah, two players for me again that were criminally underrated. That's what I would say. Um, so Gamer says Busquets or Iniesta. Now the thing is, like this is a question that can't be answered really because they're both different players in terms of Busquets was a deep lying defensive midfielder, and Iniesta was a central midfielder. I think what I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna compare the two. I'm not gonna pick either one because we're not doing like they're not like for like in the positions. But what I would say, and this is how highly I rate both players, is that for me, Messi's the best player of his generation, easily. And what I would say for these two is that these two were Busquets and Iniesta. They were the Messis of their position. That's how good they were. So for me, Busquets was the best DM of his generation. Iniesta, for me, was the best midfielder of his generation. And Messi, again, we know about Messi. You know what I mean? So that's how I would describe both players. But yeah, man, two of the greats. And again, you're not getting players like this no more, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see it. Palmer or Saka? Oh, Palmer, Cole Palmer, every day, man. Saka for me is a system player in terms of the Arsenal system just works beautifully for Saka. But Cole Palmer can go and play for any team and just be Cole Palmer. I think the best way to separate Saka and Palmer is that Saka needs certain things in a team for him to thrive, whereas Cole Palmer is just a pure footballer and he can just go and step into any team and just make the team his own. He's that good, you know what I mean? So yeah, for me, Palmer, but I think Saka, in terms of his impact for Arsenal, can't go underestimated. But in terms of a pure footballer and someone that can go and just play for any team and thrive, I'm gonna say Cole Palmer for sure, man. Yeah. But guys, only meant to be a quick one anyway. Just wanted to catch up on the Chelsea and Tottenham game. I mean, to be honest with you, as I said, Tottenham under Postecoglou now under a lot of pressure, and for me, I think that the Europa League, just like with Amarim, you know, next week it starts because both teams, I believe, both teams are away from home in the first leg. And if they don't get a positive result, the pressure is going to be on for the second leg. And both teams, again, I believe, are going to finish in the bottom half, which is going to be unacceptable. Man United and Tottenham. So, yeah, Europa League's for them. And Chelsea, obviously, they've gone back into fourth place now, above Man City. But again, I still think there's a long way to go. But obviously, Chelsea, for me, will win the Europa Conference League. I think they'll win that easy as well. And but obviously their aim is to get in Champions League, and that's all that's going to be riding on, to be honest with you. But it's still a few games to go. But I think, yeah, them getting a 1-0 victory, after not really being that good, I think that's what matters at the end. Yeah, I know Newcastle got game in hand. And the thing is, Newcastle got Leicester on Monday, and the way Leicester are playing, I expect Newcastle to destroy them. I'm looking at about 3-4-0. And I think Isak will get a couple as well. So that will take Newcastle, I believe, into the top four as well. So again, there's some games that are coming up, man. And I think this is when football starts getting interesting now, because some of the games that are coming up, you got Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa on Saturday. That's going to be a crucial game. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But guys, big up for coming on all the time. Big up to Gamer and to Fayaz Mirza and to Ujwal Kandakuri for your questions. Big up every time. Big up WWE thing for coming on again. But yeah, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully there's some Man United news that's gonna be dropping. And if so, I'm gonna be reacting to that. So yeah, guys, I should be live tomorrow. What time? I should be live tomorrow at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So yeah, if you want to come in and obviously, you got any other questions you want to ask me, anything you want to talk about football wise, obviously WWE as well, UFC, boxing. And as I said, feel free to put that in, man. And yeah, as I said, but guys, yeah, make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And yeah, big up, Gamer, bro. Yeah, if you can come through, man, no worries, man. But you're always here anyway, so I appreciate you, man. But yeah, if anything, guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.